2009. She's currently now teaching at the Santa Luz Tennis Club and Rancho Valencia Resort. She's going to be speaking to you today on the benefits of playing for your school. Let's welcome Amanda Fink.
Wow. Thank you guys. Thank you all so much for coming. I know a lot of you, and there's a lot of very highly respected coaches here, so I'm very privileged to be up here speaking for everybody. What I want to talk about today is something that I felt very passionate about, especially over the past 5 years or so, and that's from me coming out of both the high school tennis system and the college tennis system and the WTA and all that fun stuff. I feel like over the past 10 years that school tennis has gotten more or less a bad rap, I think, from everyone from players and coaches and just all over the board. So I just wanted to talk about the benefits and why I think playing for high school and for college and basically playing throughout the school system is actually really, really important for kids. And I thought it was really important to share it with all of you since you are the imprinting minds on the people that you are coaching. So I want to start with the middle school and high school programs. When I was growing up, we didn't even have middle school programs, so I think the fact that we have that now is fantastic, and high school as well. So the reason that kids, I think, don't play nowadays, one, the most popular reason is a lot of kids are complaining that the level isn't high enough. When we have strong juniors, they don't want to play because they don't want to be involved playing players that are weaker because they think that it lowers their game. I can tell you that I played high school tennis, and I have to say that I think it improved my game. For one, I got to be around lots of different people, and even if the players weren't as high level as me, that was a time that I got to practice shots that I was working on and I needed to improve my game. That's when I was coming out and working on drop shots, serve and volley, things I was truly terrified of, and serve and volley still terrified of. I also think it's important that kids are a part of team programs when they're at that important age of high school, middle school level. Coaches aren't the only people that are imprinting on their students. I think that peers do that to each other as well. I think it's important for players to be in an environment where they can be around coaches that push you and around other members of the community that push you. I definitely feel like that being on my high school team, even with players that weren't my same level, I still learned a lot of really valuable things from my teammates, and I learned the value of playing on a team. Tennis is a truly individual sport, so to make it a team experience I think was really, really special for me and really, really important for kids that are growing up and are at that level. So again, in essence, to say that it's going to hurt my game, I think that's purely false. I think also when you get to the end, when you're getting to the CIF championships and all of those things, special things, you do play players that are very high level, and the stakes are pretty high for school pride, and I think it's an important experience to be a part of. The second reason I have for kids not wanting to play high school or middle school tennis is that kids don't like to be compared to other kids. So we're talking about usually whether it be the higher or the lower level kids, we don't like to be set up on next to other kids and say I'm better because I'm higher in the lineup, or I'm worse because I'm lower in the lineup. One, that's probably something that we're going to have to deal with at some point, so I think if we can kind of address that in the early stages of it, later on those people are going to be way more stronger college players, stronger people, stronger athletes. Number two, I think that's an important role of coaches not to stress out the comparison between kids. It's important to embrace the team concept, which is, again, a really hard thing to do because tennis is an individual sport. But I think the best high school and the best college coaches are the people that embrace and can convince, whether you're the high-level player or the lower-level player, whether you're 1 in the lineup or 6 in the lineup, that you are important to the team concept, to the team experience. So I think that us as coaches have a lot of impact on how the issue of comparing kids to one another. But again, I think that's something that also kids need to be challenged with at that age. The third reason that I think a lot of kids don't play, they're busy tournament schedules. So again, this is for the high level kids. A lot of kids say, I really don't have time to play high school tennis. I have to play all these ITFs and UST events to get my rankings. And I realize that that's really, really important. But I think that playing high school tennis can have a value for that too. I think that definitely, I know that college coaches are looking for players that do have that team concept, because when they're recruiting, they're not looking for a player that's going to win, an NC2A individual championship, although that would be nice. Coaches are looking for the team championship, the team player. So I think that a lot of kids can benefit from, having that high school or middle school experience. Also, what I found is that if you are a top level player, you can make arrangements. You can just say no, but it would be kind of a better thing to just talk to your coach, see if maybe you can make an arrangement. I can be at these matches, I can't be at these matches. I can participate for so many practices, but maybe be able to pick and choose. And maybe coaches, depending on their flexibility, might be able to come to an agreement with players about maybe letting them skip a couple practices if they know that they're training anyway, or maybe only including them for important matches where the player is needed. I can definitely say that when I was playing high school tennis, I wouldn't have traded it for the world. I got to be in the newspaper every week. I got to meet some really awesome people who I still keep in touch with. I just think that a lot of kids today are missing out on a really unique experience because we are now so driven on chasing the ITF or the USTA points that I think that sometimes school tennis is getting a little lost in the shuffle. And I would really like to see coaches that are encouraging kids to be more of a part of the team experience. So that being said, I'm going to move on to college tennis. Like Conan said, I got to play for USC, and that was probably one of the more amazing experiences I've gotten to have in my life. But again, there are still many kids or many growing adults that opt out of the college tennis experience. And I've seen many players that go pro that are playing on the circuit that are stuck at about 800 in the world for about 4 years, and they skip college and they don't get to go back. They've already taken money, they've already used all their eligibility rules, and I think that's been really sad to see that people have turned down a free education. And those players that are stuck at 800 don't really have anything to fall back on. And again, it's really sad to see, but there are many reasons that, again, coaches and players don't think highly of the college experience. One is, again, just like high school, the myth that college tennis somehow hurts your game. And what I'm going to tell you is that that can be true and cannot be true. It depends on the player, and it depends on what you make of the college experience. Some players go to college and they work their butts off and they become way better players. Some players go to college and they use that time to do other things. And the other part of the college experience may make too big of a deal of it, and they end up not improving their game. So it's really not the college that's doing any of that, it's the player. If you make the best of your college experience, you will become a better player. In college, you have so many things at your disposal. You have everything from the academic tutors to athletic trainers to, at some programs, a sports psychologist, a nutritionalist. Basically, you have a full staff of people that, if you were on tour and you were paying all those people, you'd be spending millions of dollars a year. And you get to participate and have all those things at your disposal at college for free, for the most part. Some programs, again, depends, but if you are a college athlete or you are coaching someone that's going to become a college athlete, please encourage them to make the most of their time. If they make the most of their time there and use all the resources at their disposal, they will become a better player, whether they like it or not. If they don't, there's still a chance that they'll become a better player, but there's also a chance that they'll, again, be missing opportunities. That's kind of what my theme is about school tennis. So I think school tennis is an opportunity. It's not something that's just, there and to be taken for granted. It is a great opportunity that, again, I think a lot of us miss out on. The second reason that a lot of players don't play college tennis is because they think they're ready for the pros right now at 17 or 18, which, is is valid. Some players are very good and they are ready to take on the challenges of the level of WTA or ATP tennis. But sometimes what we forget is that pro tennis is not just about the level of play, it's a lifestyle. You are now traveling by yourself and managing your money and managing your time and your expenses and a lot of things that 17 and 18-year-olds are not prepared for. Some of us are lucky and we get to have our parents or coaches travel with us, but most of us can't really afford to do that. And so when you're out there, you're your own manager. And that is a really difficult thing to do without the background, I think, of a college education. I think I was way more ready for the pro circuit from going to college. I learned how to basically maintain my life and be a real adult. I didn't have to do that. I had a lot of things, my parents were very supportive and took care of a lot of my managerial things, so I didn't have a lot to worry about. So college was really an awakening for me to start learning to take care of myself. That's a really important thing to learn before you go out on the circuit. And again, a lot of talented players fall through the cracks when they get out on tour because they don't realize that, about how lonely the lifestyle can be, about how all the hardships you basically have to go through once you've chosen that lifestyle. I think a lot of players think that they're ready for the pros when they still don't have a lot of tools in their toolbox. I particularly did not want to, I did have the option to go pro right after high school, but I decided not to because I knew my game wasn't ready. I didn't know how to volley yet. I think I'm still learning how to volley a little bit. There are just important things, and when you go pro, you have to have, at least to some extent, all-around game. Pros have strengths and weaknesses, but you'll find that most players at least have a good sense of all their strokes. And if you don't have one of them, you're not ready. And you should be able to, or players should be able to realize that. So there's something to be said for taking the time to educate yourself, to really prepare yourself for the pro circuit. Also, you'll see that the age of the top 100 players or top 50 players or so, that average has gone, it's older. The top 100 players are now in their mid-20s, late 20s. They're not 17 or 18 anymore, so our push to try and get people to go pro at 17 or 18, I think you're going to find a lot of those players are going to burn out. You are going to have some exceptions. You're going to have some players like a Sloane Stephens or a Eugenie Bouchard who are doing very, very well right now, and that works. But I think in the overall scheme of things, you're finding that the kind of more mature, wiser players are kind of starting to surface to the top, not because, everyone is physically good on tour, but they are just experienced. They are mentally ready to be in the top 50 or the top 100. So that brings me to the third reason that people don't play college tennis, and that's because that they feel like they're missing their prime time to play. And again, the age of the professional is getting older. You don't need to be 16 or 17 to be on the professional tour and do well. I don't think it's not fully dependent on that at all. And so it's just really important to understand that it's more important to be ready for the tour than it is to just go and leap in without any education. So like I said, I think that school tennis overall, it's a really good opportunity for people that we're starting to miss out on. And I've seen coaches tell their players, I think it's not a good idea to play high school tennis because we're missing out on playing ITF tournaments. We need to be chasing all these things. And there are just some important things that you're missing out on if you aren't playing school tennis. So even at the high school level, if you're a good player and you're surrounded by players that aren't as great as you, guess what? It's your responsibility to be a leader. And as a freshman, that's a really difficult thing to do. But if you are the strong player, you by nature are a leader. And so you learn to be one. And that's a really important thing that, again, college coaches are looking for in their prospective recruits too. Who is going to help lead my team to victory? Who is a team player? And actually, more than ever, who is a good team doubles player? Imagine that. We're looking for doubles players now. Doubles has become really, really important. And it's about the team concept. Everything has changed. It's, again, with college tennis, and it doesn't only make you, a better tennis player, it makes you a better person. The leadership qualities, the work ethic, the learning to manage yourself. Those are all really important aspects of you becoming a good person. When I was reading and I did do a little bit of my homework for the workshop this afternoon. I did some of the online programming for Karen's workshop. And she makes a good statement about 10 and unders about how we're coaching kids first and tennis second. I think that I would like to expand that even greater to all tennis coaches. We're coaching people first, or kids first and tennis second. I think that by encouraging our kids to play more school programs or more clinic programs, anything that creates that team environment, gives that kid an opportunity to learn leadership, to learn good teamwork, is helping coach a better person and not just a better player. You'll see that I thought I had Dawn print out outlines, but I didn't, so I'm just going to read them to you. I got a couple quotes from WTA players that I know currently on tour, and Lila, who's here. So the first quote I have is Maria Sanchez, who has a career ranking high of 107 in singles and 98 in doubles. And she says, "For me, college was definitely a necessary stepping stone in the development of not only my tennis, but overall for my personal growth. I received great coaching and a lot of match play. I faced various pressure situations like being a clinching match and playing for a Pac-10 title, both individually and for my team. Being on a team obviously helps you learn how to cooperate with others, and you can learn a lot from your teammates. Additionally, receiving an education is priceless, and you can really take that far in life. It's nice to have a backup." My next quote is from Irina Falconi. Irina played for Georgia Tech. Irina has had a WTA ranking, I didn't say Maria Sanchez is a former Trojan, she was a teammate of mine. Irina is a former Georgia Tech player. Her WTA career ranking high is 73 in singles and 70 in doubles. She says that playing college tennis was so essential for me because it made me learn how to 1, have great time management, 2, juggle school and Division I collegiate tennis, and 3, compete day in and day out. I loved being able to play for someone other than myself. My sophomore year, I played more than 80 singles matches and doubles matches. That consistency gave me great springboard for the pros. My next statement is from Danielle Lau. Danielle Lau is also a former Trojan. She also just wrote a book, a small book called The Invaluable Experience, writing about her experiences in college tennis. She says, "College tennis not only gave me the opportunity to acquire my degree, but also gave me exposure to a higher level of tennis than I was seeing in the juniors. Although some may argue that the level of tennis in college is quite not as great as what they see on the circuit, I believe it is the perfect transition and middle ground for a top junior looking to play professional tennis one day. Most kids at the age of 18, although there are some exceptions, are not ready to jump on the tour to make it a living. Using college as a stepping stone allows teenagers to mature on the court with the help of guidance of college coaches, mentally as well as develop physically with the university's athletic facilities. Not only do I believe college tennis is a great platform to help launch a potential athlete's professional career, but I also believe it's an incredible experience for individuals who are looking to tackle the world, perhaps outside of the tennis sphere. Being on a team with 8 to 10 other girls, you learn to appreciate people for who they are, as well as build and understand the value of relationships that matter." My last quote is from Lila, who's here. Lila is a top former ASU player. "College tennis helped me develop social skills. As a junior player, there's a lot of sacrifices you have to make, and the social aspect of your adolescence is crushed because instead of going to the movies with your friends, you have to practice. We traded pajama parties for weekend tournaments. So college and high school tennis were key developmental factors that helped me with my social skills. Being able to communicate discomfort about the lineup, positive feedback about practice, or the status of an injury to an authoritative figure, such as my coach, was very formative because now I have an excellent relationship with my boss. College socially was very intimidating for me, so my tennis team played a huge role in helping me feel comfortable with experimenting young adulthood. They took me in as a sister. They were my support system since I was far away from my family. I think it is very important to have a feeling of belonging during your adulthood because it's a time when you are very prone to make poor choices since you are just discovering yourself. Being a Sun Devil during my early adulthood was the best thing that happened to me because it motivated me to become a better person." So again, you'll see all these people have become really successful, and I think have found that they've become better people as a result of their high school and college careers, not just better tennis players.
Yes, ma'am,
Does anyone have any questions? Yes?
I have a parent who asked me if playing high school tennis was a requirement to get a college tennis scholarship.
It's not a requirement, definitely not. Players do not have to play high school tennis in order to be considered for a scholarship. I just think that it's a really good springboard to see what college is like, since high school is the only real, besides some other junior programs, it's a good way to grasp the whole team thing again, because tennis is so individual that it's hard to kind of see it as a team thing. So I've always really encouraged at least my players to play high school tennis no matter what level they are. Yes?
Yeah, you have so much match play playing college tennis all the time.
Yeah.
In the pro circuit, you have one tournament, one loss, first round. That's it. You got this.
Yeah, the thing
Yeah.
is though, the pro circuit though is week. It kind of feels almost the same because it's week after week after week. Where college
Yeah.
tennis, there's seasons, you have breaks.
Yeah.
The pro circuit's kind of but you're absolutely right.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
could have one match and you could be out. Whereas college tennis, you do have tournaments, but you do also have the set team matches where so that consistency in match play, because again, I think match play is one of the most important components in getting ready to play professional tennis. Not only playing players that are better than you, but playing players that are your level, and learning to play players that are worse than you. All that stuff. So the more matches you play, the better. Yes, Juan.
To add to your quotes, I have a friend who skipped college and went pro, and he was very successful. But he said that he never heard anybody regret going to college instead of skipping. But
Right.
he heard a lot of people regret skipping
Right.
college.
It's an experience that you can't get back. Once you do the pro route, it's just something you miss out on. Like I said, there's still a lot of success stories, but it's just a great opportunity. Yes.
My experience, which was many, many, many years ago, but it was the very first year that they gave women scholarships for tennis, and that was back in 1975. And so the college, a lot of the girls went to college instead of turning pro. However, a good half of them, including like Terry Holiday, is a very good friend of mine, and others, chose the pro circuit early and did not do college. And every single one of those friends regrets the decision to turn pro at that time and miss the college scholarship opportunity. Every one of them. And some of them did very well, like Marita. But all, you know what I'm saying? So it's a long time ago, but it hasn't changed a lot since. It's still the same. It's a really, really good stepping stone to go to college, and it does not hurt your pro career.
No.
Isn't the
absolutely not.
difference so money now? Isn't there a lot more money?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the big.
At the top.
At the top, right.
At the
But
top,
the thing is that if you're outside though, if you're outside the top, I would say 50 now. You're not making a living.
Barely make travel.
You
money.
don't, yeah, you have to, the expenses are way too great.
Same with men, top 50?
Yeah, I would, yeah. I mean, the women have a little bit of a tougher time, but it's the same. You'll see there's a lot of articles actually surfacing around Facebook and social media about players who are starting to, come forward and talk about that, about the fact that, the expenses have gotten so great that it's keeping great tennis players out of the, great rankings and things like that.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Why, the Eastern Europeans get a lot of scholarships here in the United States for tennis?
They do.
Okay, so what is your opinion on why that happens?
So I think the reason why that happens, there's a lot of pressure, I think, on college coaches to create winning teams, because that's what they are paid for. They are paid to win championships, and at least at top programs, if you do not win at least I can speak for my school, if you're a coach at my school and you do not win a championship in a decade, you're usually which is, a tough thing, and you can only get so many of the top players in America, because they get usually all the college coaches are looking at probably the same 10 players, and once those players are gone, it's really hard to find the same players with the same echelon of talent level. But also there are a lot of American players that are, ones that are outside those top 10, a lot of them give up on searching for good college programs and seeking out, even if you're not going to a, whatever, for the women, a Stanford or a USC, there's still tons of great tennis programs with amazing coaches. Like, I can say that I loved where I went, but I missed an opportunity to go to, when Brian at Georgia Tech first called me, and he's one of the greatest coaches I now know in the United States. When he called me, I immediately, within 5 minutes, told him, I'm really sorry, Mr. Shelton, I can't go to your school. It's too far away from home, and I know, you know, not a lot about your program. And they ended up having like a championship team within 2 years. So again, it's half, you know, half of it is coaches that are pressured to find a certain talent level that they're just not seeing in the States currently, and half of it is from American players that aren't really making the effort or good enough effort to reach out to different programs. They're all kind of going for the same programs instead of kind of widening the spectrum, I would say. Yeah.
Just to make a point on your number 2 and 3 on the college tennis, as you know, things have changed completely, and it's almost a no-brainer now to go to college because now in their schedules are the pro tournaments.
Yeah.
You know, Andrew Harris did
Right.
to the qualifying of the Australian Open
Right.
at your school, Sabrina.
Yeah.
Zoe Bryn were given money to go to Toronto, Florida to play on the circuit. You're coming out of the college having a 200 to 300 ranking already.
Right, that's a
Getting paid for it.
Yeah, that's a
Can't beat that.
fantastic point. When players are doing their college, you know, education now, they are allowed in breaks, and they're supported by their schools, by the USTA, by programs to be able to continue to play while they're in college. So you're able to obtain a ranking still, so you're not coming out of college with nothing. So really, there's no downside.
So you just don't accept the
Oh.
money?
Sorry, what?
You don't accept the money if you're a college player? You
Yeah,
don't
so the
accept
rules
it?
are is that you can only take money that is technically your expenses, unless it's being funded by, you know, again, the USTA or anything
I think
like
it's
that.
changed, you could take $10,000 now.
Yeah, they're starting to change it. Yeah, I didn't know if it officially went through the ranks yet. I guess, again, I don't know, maybe the college aficionados back here. But, yeah, they definitely have changed that, so they're making it a little easier for college and school players to play on the tour. But again, I think that middle school, high school level is just as important to get that kind of team playing experience and all that fun stuff. All right,
Thank you, Amanda.
thank you.